Hello Neverwinter, it's that time of the mod again where we have an update to my Immortal fighter build. Usual disclaimers apply, this is not a stat cap build, this is not a optimized build. This is a build that specifically suits my playstyle and it will not be for everybody. It is a build that allowed me to go deathless in Master Dread Sanctum with no healer in the first week of its release though, so make of that what you will. Before I get into the nitty gritty details of the build, I am just going to show you guys something about Fortified Nature and why I do not rate it very highly. So I'm just going to go into Baby Zariel for this. And see how long this map takes to load. I do not know what is going on with the Black Death Scorpion in here, but it's clearly not functioning correctly in the training room. Good old coding in this game, absolutely. Now, the reason why I just want to show some things about the Fortified Nature is because I see a lot of people going around and advocating quite strongly for it. And I just want to point out a couple of things. I mean, obviously, if you really enjoy that enchantment and it's your go-to thing, then, you know, carry on. But if you're just using it because somebody else has said to, then I feel like I should just show you why it's not something that I use. Well, especially for a no healer run, but in general in single target content. And obviously if you have absolutely no interest in this, just skip forward to the build section. Okay, so that here it is, stacks are building up. And stacks are gone. 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 And bear in mind that Zariel is one of the fastest attackers that you're probably going to be dealing with. Stacks are gone. Stacks are gone. I don't think we've hit 5 stacks yet. So bear in mind, this is one of the few sort of bosses where you can just stand still and let her hit you most of the time as well. And she hits very fast. And so far we have not hit a full set of stacks once. Now, you may say, hey, but at least, you know, that's 1 or 2 stacks, maybe up to 4 stacks of, you know, awareness, deflect, defense. But, you know, awareness only goes up to 90 and it should be capping with your shield up anyway. I don't know what possible function deflect could have over 90%. And, you know, a little bit of extra defense may be good, but defense, each point of defense is worth 0.47 damage resistance, I believe. And that is with diminishing returns as you get higher defense. So when we're in a situation where, you know, 80, 85% defense is as good as 90% defense, I'm not entirely sure how much better getting just a few extra percentage in there is going to be, really. And again, in most content, you're not going to be able to just stand there and let them hit you. You're going to have to dodge mechanics. Okay, I think I've shown my point with that one. I will then show you why I use the flash freeze instead. Let's just show you actually. Okay. Fortified Nature, once per second. So the fact is, this rarely hits the maximum stacks. Quite often hits don't register for this. You only get 3 seconds before the stacks drop off. And that heal can only happen every 30 seconds anyway. So it's not as effective as a lot of people seem to think it is, basically, is what I'm saying. Even though you can get some nice pretty pictures with your stats all green if you're running it. Now, see the flash freeze stacks going on to Zariel? Every stack of that reduces the incoming damage to you and the rest of the team by 6%. And that can go up to 18% when those 3 stacks come on. And that is nearly a 1/5 damage reduction before it even hits your stats. And guys, I mean, I've said this before, reducing the incoming damage is significantly and just so much massively more effective than anything you can do with your stats, because the damage is reduced before it hits your stats. It is, you know, there's no drop off on that. That is a flat 18% reduction in the damage that is coming towards you, and then your stats work on it. And not just for you, I mean, it is particularly and especially useful for the tank as well, but that is reducing it for your entire team. And, you know, it's not a permanent thing, it doesn't go on all the time, but when it goes on, you will notice the reduction in the damage. The healer certainly will. As a tank, you will. If one of those big hits comes in when it's up to like 3 stacks, it's just phenomenal reduction in damage. And that is why Flash Freeze over Fortified Nature. Places where Flash Freeze can be useful. Places where Fortified Nature can be useful. Fortified Nature is kind of useful in AoE because you're getting hit by so many different things that those stacks will get up and they will maintain. But for a single target trial or single target boss, yeah, the Fortified Nature is just not as effective as a lot of people seem to think it is. So, sorry for that little aside. I just wanted to get that cleared up for anybody or any new tanks coming up. The Fortified Nature is one of the reasons why I can do those no healer runs, because of the phenomenal reduction in damage that it provides to me and the team. Alright, now let's get into the Immortal Fire build, updated for, what module are we on now? Module 30? And we've already done all the disclaimers. I'm going to take that Scorpion off because the noise is really annoying me. But we were running the Black Death Scorpion. And this build is actually incredibly similar to the previous build. Basically, all I've done is added a couple of new gear pieces, upgraded the Celestial Companions. Obviously, we're running at 108 item level, 108,000 item level, which means that our HP is now off the freaking scale. That is, I think it was like 3 mods ago I was running at 1.3k. Yeah, we've just been able to get a phenomenal amount higher on the HP here, which obviously your maximum HP informs your maximum stamina, which informs how much you can shield, which is why it's not the most important thing, but it is important. Obviously they bumped a few of our stats up to 120%. I can't really think of any reason why they've done this, because we certainly don't need things going up to 120%. I think it may just be a bit of a lazy move, because they realised they fucked up when they changed over the stat system a while ago. And they just keep giving us gear that's basically useless, right? It's very unfortunate. We are running with high stamina regen, as always. Because obviously the way that this build works is that it uses the stamina basically as a health bar. Well, that's basically how tanking should work, right? It uses stamina as like a fast recharge, temporary health bar. Dodge what damage you can, shield what damage you can't, and regen your stamina in between. Obviously, we only deflect when our shield is down. This is why deflect is not as useless as many people think it is, because it's what's given us just a little bit more survivability when we have to stop shielding to regen our stamina. Okay, gear wise, yeah, so this is the hat from, what was it, Dread Sanctum? No, Dread Sanctum is the current one. Master Lair of the Mad Dragon. Ah, these dungeons are starting to get very similar. Yeah, so this one came from Master Lair of the Mad Dragon. It's quite useful. I mean, there's no reason why as a tank you can't survive long enough to get those stacks up most of the time. And the little bit of stamina regen's always nice. We are still running the broken set. I haven't used the latest version. I haven't used the accompanying neck piece to this because it has no stats on it for some reason. I did have one of those somewhere. But yeah, it's not even really stats we're going, but it's just like pure item level really for the extra HP. The only proper tank set we really got is the Tiamat set, and I don't particularly rate that highly, given the alternatives. Broken set still seems to be the way to go. Okay, I've gone for the Manticore ring. Because now that DPS have 120% power and 120% combat advantage, I need a little helping hand to maintain the aggro even with KV. It gets a little bit crazy, especially in the new dungeon with the last boss aggro resetting on every phase. I don't know if that's an intentional thing that they've done, but it does mean you need to be able to put out, or you need to be able to pull the threat back quick, and you need to be able to build up threat quick. The second boss actually is a particular pain because it starts off with that shield, so you can't Obviously with that shield up, you can't do any damage, you can't generate threat, causes an issue. This one was from MDWP, same with the chest piece. This is still the best chest piece for a tank in the game. I've seen some people running around with this one, but it's just not as good. This this MDWP one is still significantly better than anything else we could be running at the minute on a tank. That one was a good one, masterwork one, but certainly don't want to drop our item level by that much when we've got this this alternative. Yeah, I mean you can make an argument for some other arm sets in here. Defense one, damage resistance one. I think these are all right. I'm not like wedded to them. I'm sure people have got different ideas about it. That one's okay. It activates often enough for me to feel like it's worthwhile, but those aren't stats that I need either. So, you know, it's not a big deal basically. These Solarium weapons are still the best single target weapons we can run. No, correction. They are the best weapons we can run when there's more than one target. Otherwise, it would be the Void Touch here. So these ones gives us a flat -6% incoming damage. Obviously, they work better in wild space, but that -6% incoming damage is still very good. And then the Void Touched obviously is a flat -5% incoming damage, and then if you can get those stacks up, they do end up being significantly better. But since they keep insisting on making every single boss fight an absolute mob fest, there's very few bosses where these will actually function how we would want them to. Okay, this is one of the new pieces that we brought in. Some of these rings are really good for stats ratings, right? The way they've unrestricted the ratings a bit has been quite useful. 7% Forte, it's like 3.5% defense. 1.75% crit avoid. And accuracy as well, because, you know, tanks really need accuracy. But this is mainly for the stats and obviously for the item level. The reason why I've switched this in is because I am having to use my daily a lot to help maintain the aggro. It no longer makes any sense to run this because my action points aren't going to be full often enough to make it worthwhile to use it. If you're having particular trouble with the last boss or with a dragon boss, it might be worthwhile switching in the damage resistance from Dragon Ring. But it's not really the dragon that does the damage in the latest one. It's not the dragon that's going to be killing you so much as it will be like ads and demogorgons and whatnot. So I don't think that's necessarily a good idea for this one. This is one of the new items that dropped as well. This is in here purely for item level and stats. I think previously I was running this one. Or was it the engineer one? Yeah, it's probably that one. So, nice little boost to the stats, maintaining the same sort of ability points though. I really don't know why they put out some stuff without ability points on for these. It seems a little bit weird to me. Dazzling Flare Fiber shirt. This one's from Moondancer. this is one of the useful things about deflect that people don't register enough, I don't think. There are situations where deflect is very useful for triggering other things going on. So with the combination of these two things, we have a nice 12% HP, potentially restore. One of them is a 5-second, one of them's a 10-second. And for a no healer run, you basically want as many sources of self heals as you can get. And it's just useful in general, really. I can't really think of anything better. I mean, potentially those, but your stamina's rarely going to be that high. Get 5% defense from those. Yeah, I'd rate these more highly. The artifacts haven't changed. We haven't had any new tank artifacts. I look forward to the day we have that final stamina upgraded one. That would be very nice. And the boots. I know people are going to come and at me about this. Obviously, there's a newer version of these ones with the 20% increase in hit points. Okay, here's the thing. I don't like them. When I am tanking, I like to know how much HP I have at all times. And if I suddenly get 20% more HP and I'm not aware of it, I just, it's difficult to know how much damage you can take if your HP is varying by that much, okay? I know people like them, I know people swear by them, it's just, I don't like them. It makes it more difficult for me to predict whether or not I can survive a hit if I don't know how much HP I have at any given time, okay? So, I mean, if you like these sort of boots, then go ahead. I'm not going to criticize you for it. Just me personally, it makes it difficult for me to know what's going on, basically. So yeah, if you're not going to be running the HP boots, then these depth forged ones are a decent alternative. In my mind. I'm sure there's other things available as well. Enchantment wise, yeah, okay, so I'm not entirely sure how useful this is in this particular build. I mean, deathless with no healer, so it's obviously doing something right, but it could probably be optimized a little bit further. Without running the deflect and deflect severity ring, this is less useful now. Something to think about. So obviously, I mean, do what you want. We do try to keep these relatively close for the combat balance feat, but you know, there's scope for tweaking and changing here, as I'm sure you're all aware. Unholy Protection. These are nice, cheap, cheerful. 5% crit avoid is definitely worth a slot here. I have gone for the Bulk of Brimstone for the extra HP, because again, the HP informs how much stamina you have. Resilience of the Depths, also a good shout. You see, I'm unsure, because obviously the 5% maximum hit points increases as your item level increases, whereas 5% damage resistance reduces as your damage resistance increases. So I don't know I don't know the full numbers, but there's clearly a point at which one of these things becomes more effective than the other, right? So the lower your damage resistance is to begin with, the more effective the resilience of the depths will be. But then the higher your item level is, the more benefit you get from the Bulwark of Brimstone. So I don't know, that's going to be a personal choice, I think, guys. Okay, we did the little experiment at the beginning of this, which I hope explains why I prefer the Flash Freeze over the Nature's Fortification, or whatever it's called, Fortified Nature. And it's just a efficacy thing, basically. Obviously there are other things that tanks can run, but I don't rate them at all, to be honest. Movement speed. Movement speed is one of the single most powerful stats in the game. The ability for you to get out of a damage zone and then return to the spot before the boss moves and starts upsetting the DPS is pretty important from a tank strategy perspective. Okay, powers wise, this alters depending on what I'm doing. So for the first two bosses in Dread Sanctum, I would run Knight's Valor. For the last boss, Knight's Valor is pretty useless, as it is with most dragons, because, as I keep saying, you do not want a DPS standing in a damage zone when a dragon is about to hit them, because they will kill you quite easily with the amount of damage the DPS usually take from a dragon. I'm running 2 Harl Taunts because, like I say, the DPS now have 120% power, 120% combat advantage. It's making threat get a little bit dicey, and I just want to make sure I have the ability to pull it back. Obviously enforced threat is also a pretty solid debuff as well. Yeah, these haven't changed. Yeah, so if I was using shield throw, I would have shield thrower in, but I am not for this particular one, so that's nothing to worry about. Combat balance, I mean, it's just free damage resistance, you know. Why not? But it's very specifically damage resistance when your shield is not up, which is very important, because at some point you need to drop your shield to regen your stamina, right? I didn't really use determination on this one, but I never used bladed rampart, so perfect block, right? Why not? I've said before that I favour deep breathing over shake it off. Mostly because you'll never get the full magnitude from retaliate, because obviously retaliate only kicks in after you've already lost X amount of stamina, because it requires a hit to your shield. And, you know, I can usually get at least 2 stacks of deep breathing in, which is a 8% damage boost. It boosts my healing. I find it more useful. Obviously, personal preference. Go with whatever you want. Boons wise, critical avoidance, obviously just to make up those combat balance stats. We could slot on defense now, I suppose. You've got a bit more leeway on the rating, but yeah, whatever you feel like, really. Master boons, we are running 5 master boons. Life lessons kicks in quite a lot if you ever test it out, which is quite useful for that little heal. Enhanced application kicks in a lot more than you might realise as well, and that is a very nice little damage reduction. And the rest are just whatever, really. Obviously stamina regen. Blessed Resilience can be incredibly useful for the stamina regen. Yeah, I need to check. I can't recall whether these trigger off self-heals. But either way, if you're on a run with a healer, they will trigger and it will be useful. Yeah, so specifically for the no healer run, I was running Black Death Scorpion, but as I said before, it's doing something weird in the training room, and I've taken it off because it was making weird noises and being really annoying. I haven't updated to any new companion gear since the Mount Hot No mod. Mostly probably laziness, but also like we don't need to. There's no content that really requires much effort at the minute, unfortunately. What I have done is upgraded several companions to Celestial. Obviously the Raptor is for the DPS, and they certainly need it now that they've got their power up to 120. Regis Bruno, they get a nice synergy bonus. That 9% income and damage reduction is, again, incredibly powerful. And I just put the cat in here for more for the defense than the deflect. I mean, yeah, we could really do with a lot more decent utility companions, really. If I could slot a green slime in there, that would be quite nice. But like I said, I haven't gone to the effort of optimizing this. Yeah, I might go through the companion list in the collections and see if there's anything like particularly useful that can go in there. But for now, it is the cat. I mean, the goat might even be useful in there. What would that be? 9%, 4.5 defense, 2.25 crit avoid, and then 2.25 accuracy. Obviously very important. But yeah, that's what we got. We went for the cat. Okay. So running the Eclipse line. This was at the request of the group organizer, Gus. Obviously, tank tends to be running Eclipse or Swarm. There may be instances where you have to run like Rime Fire, but generally if you've got Eclipse or Swarm, you'll be doing all right. Now, again, Providence. And I do keep saying this, but it is, I think, the single the single most underrated thing for survivability in the game. Providence will save your life. It is that powerful. It triggers a lot of the boons. It triggers a lot of the other effects. It is incredibly useful to run on a tank. And that comes from the Swift Golden Lion, by the way. Okay. I look forward to the day where they give us a 4-slot variant of the Gladiator's Guile. I've only gone for one of these. I think one is enough. We've already got a lot of stamina regen. And we already move pretty fast, so, you know. The synergy between Lionheart's Perseverance and Champion's Return is something I cannot overstate enough. It is an incredibly powerful combination. As far as I'm aware, the Neverwinter hand was the only thing that could make Champion's Return. I'm not sure if any of the updated or the amounts that have been released recently can also make it. But you might be just out of luck if you don't have that Neverwinter hand, unfortunately. Now this new Insignia bonus is phenomenal, to be honest. I mean, 8% increased HP just for slotting that in is just insanely powerful. Last I heard, it was bugged, so slotting more did not actually give you more, but once it is fixed and working correctly, I would probably swap out the Gladiator's Guile and put another one of these in, for sure. Yeah. And then we've gone for Knight's Condemnation, 7.5%. All bosses have combat advantage on you, so this is a very reliable trigger. And obviously with the other self-heals as well, you just got a nice consistent amount of self-healing going on. Obviously for all content really, I run potions of rejuvenation above stuff like health stones. That's because the ticks of the rejuvenation can trigger other things as well. And yeah, so rather than having one big heal from the health stone and full heal, those little ticks from the rejuvenation as I'm shielded up are a lot more effective for survivability. Because, well, the bosses usually do like one big hit, right? Or the big hits are few and far between, basically. So it's usually little tick downs that are hitting you. So if you're ticking up constantly from the potion of rejuvenation whilst you're shielding, it just gives you more ability to recover your HP over a longer period than just like restoring it full and then getting it all drained down again. Is basically the strategy for that one. Okay guys, so that's it. That is the updated Immortal Fighter build. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you like a lot of videos, please subscribe. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments. And I'll just repeat the disclaimer. This is literally the build I used for the No Healer run. So you know, I'm not telling anybody to run this build. I'm not telling anybody to not run this build. I'm just saying this is what I used. Okay, take care everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.